Hello YouTube, this is Carson's XDM45 doing a video tonight on reloading some ammo. On my channel I've had several videos there where we've come up to this point. We've taken the wheel weights, and as you can see in the background we've made our ingots. I've got videos where we took the ingots and we've actually cast the bullets. I got the cast the bullets right here. Hope you can see that right there. Got a new camera, and so my videos from now on should be a lot better quality. But we cast a bunch of bullets, and then I had a video where I showed you using a star sizer and lubed and sized all these bullets. Had another video where I showed you how to clean my brass. I've got a whole thing of brass here, and we're going to be using my my square DLB from Dillion to reload some 45s tonight. And so just a real simple setup here. This reloader has literally loaded thousands upon thousands of rounds. I've had it for several years now. It looks kind of beat up. It's not the fanciest looking machine, but it works. So I've got it on my workbench here. I've got all my lead on my workbench to make sure it's more stable, and I've got the bench attached to the wall, and that's very important. I'll show you that here in just a second. Square DLB, you've got the place where the actual shells turn in here. You've got a rod here where we're going to put some primers in here in just a moment. We've got the reservoir where we put the powder in. That's where that goes. We got a little pan over here where we've got our bullets. I've got some bullets that I've already done, and got some extra sitting in here. A little cup down here at the bottom to catch all of your used primers. So just not going to go into a lot of technical information about the square DLB. I really like it. I like their customer service from Dillion. There's been many times, let me use the screwdriver here, there's been many times that I've watched videos on YouTube where everything just went perfect. And you know, you try to do it yourself at home, and you've run into some problems, run into some difficulties. And so has this thing been perfect? No, it's not been perfect. I've had some problems with it, but I tell you what, Dillion has always come through. I've had this little bolt right here. I've had it break a couple times. I actually broke one of these link arms one time. Pushing on too much. I cracked the handle one time. But in every instance, whatever the case was, I would call Dillion, send them an email. They'd send me the part back out. In fact, they sent me 2 link arms when that broke, and they've sent me extra parts. Just good company, for reloading equipment and everything. I like them. So let me go over the 4 stages here. If we can zoom in real quickly here. My lovely assistant is helping me here. Alright, and the first stage here, if you can see it, first stage is where the actual shell goes in. The shell goes in, and it's going to go into the shell plate right there. And then as you move the handle down, it's going to go up. It'll come back down, and what happens is that shell plate will move, and it'll put that shell right here. What happens, this first stage, as you push it down, the pin up in here is going to push that primer out of the shell that you're going to reload. It'll push that old primer out. You'll hear it hit down in this cup down at the bottom. One thing that you might be careful of is if you're going along and you don't hear them falling out of this cup, if underneath this shell plate it'll get dirty. If you get a lot of grease or something in there, and those primers will get clogged up in here. And so you don't want that to happen. Make sure you keep it cleaned out. Clean that out. I blow it out with air. I'll put some carburetor cleaner in there and just blow it out and keep it clean. Make sure those primers fall out. The shell plate will move. The shell will sit in the second position. What happens when you bring it back up, the shell goes up, and this is where your powder is measured out. It comes down through here. It comes back down. And now the shell has moved over this way, and it has the powder in it. Now, one thing that I had problems with at first was the bell, or the circumference of the bullet. I hope you can see that, of the shell. What happened was the bell or the opening of the bullet was not big enough, and when I tried to put, if you can see that, when you try to put the slugs in there, I was really messing up and squashing a lot of my shells, and I couldn't figure it out. And finally, the folks at Dillion, they helped me, and I found out that you can adjust this. You can take this loose here, and you can adjust this up or down, and you can increase the bell or the opening to the shell. And so it goes up here, gets powder, goes to the third position. That's when you take your slug and you set your slug right on top of the. See if I can show you. You take your slug and you set that slug right on top of the bullet. It sits there like this. You'll pull it down the third time, and what that does is that will seat the bullet inside the shell. All right, it'll seat it. It'll come back down, and again, and it'll spin to this last position. And when you pull it one more time, what happens is it comes up in this, the last area right here, and it'll crimp that bullet shut. And that way when your bullets can't come out, they're the right size. The edge, there's no edge right there, and they'll load into your gun real easy. So what we're going to do now, we're going to put some primers in here. I'm going to show you how I do that. And let's see if I can get my video girl, if she can move over a little bit. I've got the primers I'm using is from Wolf, and I get these for $15.50 a thousand. I get those $15.50 a thousand. Last time I bought 7,000 of them, and with tax and hazmat fee and everything, they cost me $150. That's roughly a little over 2 cents a primer. I like them because they come in the tray and they're already face up. Okay, different people can use different trays. I got me an old Dillion tray here, and what you'll do is you'll put that tray on top of there. You'll hold it in place, flip it over. Very easy. Very easy. All right. Then we'll take this tray. We'll take that off. You come around here, and if you'll see how they're all laid out there. Then what you want, you've got your pickup tube. Okay, you got your pickup tube, and what you're going to do is you're going to pick these up. Hope you can see that, and you're pushing them in one right behind the other. And what you're going to do is you're going to load this tube up here with all these primers. Now, one thing that you need to be careful of that I found out, again, one of those little things that I found out by experience, is if, let's say that you drop a primer on the floor, or if something happens where a primer gets a little bent, you really need to be careful about trying to put it back in the tube, because it'll stick inside there. It'll stick inside there, and you'll have problems trying to get your primers to come out. You want to get them all stacked up in there so they're nice and loose. And what's going to happen is we're going to flip this thing upside down here in just a second and get all these primers. I'm trying to make it so the camera, you can see with the camera, it's real exciting footage here as I pick up my primers. But this is how I do it. This is how I do it. Again, if you've watched any of my videos, okay, I'm not a real high-tech fella, but again, I can produce 100 rounds of 45 ACP for a little over $2. So I'll take the savings any day. Alright, we got all of our primers. We get those loaded up. Alright, what you want to do is you want to flip that tube over. They'll slide all down out here. Alright, this is where we're going to be putting the primers at. A little fancy safety pin there to keep the primers from falling out the other side. Pick them up, pull the pin out, they'll all fall down inside there. And what we'll do is, if you can see up here at the top, you'll have a couple primers. Sometimes they'll stick right here, and you take your stick here, tap those in there. There we go. And we'll slide down through there. You'll pull this out. This little warning thing tells you when your primer's getting low. You want to put this in there. What I did on my stick here is I put an extra bullet on top so it'll be a little bit more weight pushing those primers down. Alright, so we got the primers in there. Probably the most important thing is make sure that you got powder in there. Believe me, you do 200-300 rounds and realize that you didn't have powder in there and you have to pull them all apart. That's not any fun. And so let me get this out of the way here.